Well, trainers, it's time for the Go Battle League to get spooky once again. The Halloween Cup returns to the GBL soon, and with various buffs, nerfs, and new faces added this year, we'll definitely see a haunting new meta take shape. So stick around to see which ghosts and ghouls will bring you success in our 2022 Halloween Cup prep guide. Welcome back, everyone. So the Halloween event descends back to Go next Thursday, and with it comes the most petrifying PvP event of the year. It's also one of my favorite GBL cups because Ghost is one of my favorite types. Now this year's cup will be pretty interesting, and that's because we've had a lot of PvP updates in 2022. Not only have we gotten some solid Pokémon debuts that fit the Halloween Cup structure, but we've also had moves added to existing Pokémon that now make them PvP monsters. So we've got a lot to unpack in this PvP guide, where we'll be analyzing 5 newcomers who will be joining in on the fun. Now obviously there's a lot more than 5 Pokémon that will do well in this cup, so if you're looking for some more fearsome fighters, I'll link 2 of our previous Halloween prep guides down in the description. Now let's jump right into our 2022 guide with our first creepy contender, Trash Cloak Wormadam. This specific Pokemon is one that I greatly underestimated last year, but after adding it to my team, it brought me a lot of success. If you played the cup last year, you know how common poison types like Nidoqueen and Golbat were, and that's what made this Steel-type Confusion user such an amazing asset. I suspect that Wormadam's success will only continue this Halloween, especially with Toxapex joining the mix. Plus its charged attack Iron Head will help it strive against fairy types, like our next contender, Galerian Whistling. Now this is one Pokemon that I've had a lot of fun using in the Open Great League. While it's not the bulkiest Pokemon out there, it makes up for that with its great typing and powerful fast move Fairy Wind. Now if you're thinking about using this Pokemon for the cup, it absolutely needs Overheat for a charged move. That'll ensure you'll melt through any steel types that cross your path, as well as do neutral damage against all the other Halloween types. As for a second charged attack, the 2 best options are Sludge and Play Rough. Typically I prefer using Sludge because it's a bait move, but with the abundance of Dark and Ghost types in the Halloween Cup, Play Rough will also have its uses. Now if you don't have one of these Wheezing, you can currently battle them in 3-star raids through the weekend, so if you want to use it, you're not going to want to miss this chance to add it to your team. Next up, we have another fairy type making use of Fairy Wind, and that's Mawile. Not only does this Pokemon have one of the best typings in the game, but it's been prevalent in the Halloween Cup before. Now that it's gained Fairy Wind as a fast attack, you can power up your charged attacks even quicker. But that being said, it's going to have a tough time against Wormadam and Beedrill, so to counter these 2, you might want to swap Fairy Wind for Fire Fang. Now regardless of the fast move you use, you'll definitely want Play Rough as one of your charged moves, while the second will depend on which fast move you have. If you're using Fairy Wind, it might be better to use Iron Head as a secondary, whereas you'll want the attack buffing Power Up Punch if you're using Fire Fang. But regardless of the moveset you choose, this is one of the few fairies that can stand up to poison types because it's part steel, so I'd say it's definitely worth considering as part of your team. Now like Galerian Whistling, it's also going to be available in raids this weekend, so if you want to use this steel type, it might be worth trying to find a raid or 2. Moving on to our 4th Halloween Pokemon, we're going to talk about a mom we mentioned earlier, being Toxapex. This newcomer is going to be the ultimate fairy destroyer, especially when facing a Azumarill. Its typing will also give it success in this cup, as Psychic, Electric, and Ground types will be rather sparse. However, between the prevalent Ghost types and Steel types like Wormadam about, it's not going to be super broken by any means. Though at the same time, most Pokemon who take neutral or super effective damage from its Poison Jab will fall to this bulky pick. Now our last Halloween newcomer will actually be a pretty good counter to Toxapex, and that's Runarguez. Much like its Unova form, Runarguez had the stats for PvP, but lacked the proper moveset. However, all that changed when it received Shadow Claw at the start of the season. If you pair that move with Sand Tomb and Shadow Ball, then you'll have a pretty solid moveset on your hands. Plus its Ground Ghost typing makes it excellent for combating poison types like Beedrill, Nidoqueen, and Toxapex. Now, obtaining one of these Pokémon was fairly difficult in years past, since it was only available through research. However, with this being the third year that it's been available in Go, perhaps it'll be available in the wild or easier field research tasks. But either way, we'll just have to wait and see what the Halloween event has in store. So now that we've gone through some good individual Pokémon to use, let's go over a few teams you can try out for this year's Cup. Up first, we have Azumarill, Sableye, and Cofagrigus. As you can see, this team utilizes a double Ghost backline to deal with Azumarill's poison weakness, while also having the capabilities to take down enemy Trevenant as well. Now, unfortunately, this team is super weak to fairy types like Wigglytuff. However, using Azumarill's Play Rough and Sableye's Return can do a lot of damage against them. And in the event you end up losing your lead, I recommend switching to Sableye, since this is one of the safest switches in the Go Battle League. As for our next team, we've got the combo of Trevenant, Mawile, and Galerian Whistling. While this team struggles against Fire-type Pokémon and moves, it otherwise has strong coverage over the rest of the meta. Trevenant has a spammy presence with its low-energy Seed Bomb, but can also be terrifying if it fires off a Shadow Ball. Plus, Mawile and Whistling are pretty versatile, being able to spit out Fairy, Fire, and Steel-type damage. That's honestly pretty impressive for dealing with a meta like this. Now, if you absolutely have to switch your lead, I would definitely recommend Whistling most of the time, and leave Mawile as your closer. As for our last Halloween team, we paired Wormadam alongside Toxapex and Scrafty. Now, Wormadam and Toxapex make for a very solid core in this Cup. Toxapex will cover many Fire-type threats in this Cup, while Wormadam will cover some of Toxapex's threats. That leaves the power of punching Scrafty to round out the coverage for the team, since it's great at beating out Ghosts and other Dark types that cross its path. It's just important to use the other two when dealing with Fairies, because we all know what'll happen to Scrafty if you don't. So trainers, what are your thoughts on this year's Halloween Cup, and which teams will you be trying out for this ghoulish Cup? We really want to hear about your creepy team concoctions, so be sure to let us know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. Now, after the Halloween Cup concludes, the spookiness continues with the first ever Ultra League Halloween Cup. A lot of Great League picks will still be useful here, though many contenders like Beedrill, Azumarill, and Toxapex won't be big enough for this Cup. So make sure you're subscribed and have the bell on so you don't miss this prep guide for this Halloween Cup variant. So until then, thank you all so much for watching, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Stay spooky.